Hi, Relaxed Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain an American sci-fi action thriller movie called Monsters of Man. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A young woman named Angie is seen running hysterically through the jungles of Cambodia. She ends up being hurt in the process, and as she's falling over, we can see an armed robot coming after her. Angie tries to run away with all her strength, but her injuries prevent her from doing so. On the other side, we see CIA agent Robert Greene issuing the command to speed things up as he watches the robot brutally kill the young girl. We then see a cybersecurity team of 3 people named Jance, Kroger, and Fielding at a bus stop. A van arrives and they're picked up by a man named Bowler, who rushes everyone to their destination. The group is then led into a little house where they can start their assignment. Soon after that, Bowler and Jance leave the house so that they can set up a drop point link at a different site. And while sitting in the car, Bowler calls Major Greene and informs him that his crew is in a safe place and that one of the members is with him. We are then taken to a Cambodian village where a woman named Kayla is keeping an eye on her son Leap and a bunch of kids who are building a small cottage. An American citizen named Mason is also helping with the construction. Back at the house, Fielding arranges the tech required for the mission with Kroger, and while Kroger begins working on some weapon coding, Fielding believes that he's only conducting a simple navigation test. Meanwhile, Jance and Bowler reach deep into the forest and immediately set out in front. Fortunately for them, the two barely escape a bomb trap that the local smugglers have set up, and as a patrol passes by, they immediately move out of sight to avoid being caught. Around the same time, a group of medical students, Jordan, Des, Angie, Wendy, Tyan, and Bao, are seen in another area of the same jungle. They've come to the forest to have fun, but since their car breaks down, they're forced to stop in this wilderness. Eventually, they decide to walk the rest of the way, hoping to find a village in the Golden Triangle. On the other hand, Bowler and Jance stop and set up the communication tools, and once Fielding and Kroger have confirmed the arrangement, they leave the scene. Foster, the company's CEO, contacts Kroger to grant Major Greene screen access so that he may watch the mission. Then, the duo returns back to the house and start preparing to drop the robots off. Bowler establishes a connection between the robot's camera and Major Greene, who verifies the robot's landing time. While the plane is getting ready to drop the robots, the students from earlier are also able to see the plane from below. Just then, Fielding reports that one of their robots, which goes by the name BR4, has been experiencing some problems after the jump, and if it's not handled soon, they will lose total control of the robot. On the other hand, when the group of tourists reaches the village, they ask for help from Kayla and Mason. However, the village head Prak arrives with weapons and orders them to leave right away. He tries to attack them, but Kayla intervenes and convinces Prak to allow them to stay the night. Meanwhile, the robots show up at the place set up by Jance earlier. Major Greene instructs a new mission objective, and Kroger is compelled to modify the mission codes. Moments later, the damaged BR4 awakens, but Kroger reports that the broken module will require at least 12 hours to fix. That evening, the tourists spend their time at Kayla's house while the villagers stare at them with distrust. The next morning, the tech team is shocked to see that the robot is moving on its own. They even take out a case of guns and arm themselves. Meanwhile, Leap goes to play with his friends in the forest, and since he's the only one who can navigate the forest, the students are compelled to stay in the village until Leap gets back. While hanging out with his friends, Leap accidentally comes across BR4 and takes its module. But when the robot starts moving, the kids become frightened and run away. Leap immediately runs to his father and tells him about the weird robot he saw in the jungle, but before they can do anything about it, Kroger receives the order to turn on the robot, and they start attacking everyone in the village. Fielding and Jance make an effort to stop the attack since they were unaware that they were killing people, but Bowler threatens the duo and forces them to follow the orders. Everyone in the village becomes terrified and starts running for their life. Along with the tourists, Kayla, Leap, and Mason hide within the house as he looks for an escape. However, one robot discovers their hiding place and approaches to attack them. On the other hand, Major Greene and the rest of the crew are taken aback by the presence of Americans because they weren't expecting them, so he immediately gives the order to kill everyone because they are now witnesses to this insanity. In the meantime, Mason diverts the robots, and somehow they all manage to escape. While Mason and Kayla are leading a group of kids away, everyone is separated. But sadly, he's unable to save the children in time, and they end up losing their life. Now, Mason is hurt by a robot's attack, but they manage to hide from the killer machine, and eventually, they join Jordan, Des, and Tien. Meanwhile, BR4 enters the home and starts scanning the photos and iPads of the tourists. It seems as if the machine is learning more about the group and is growing more self-aware. On the other hand, Fielding complains that she won't take part in the attacks because her team did not agree to go into mass slaughter mode, but Bowler argues that she's wrong and holds everyone accountable for the project, especially their IT team. Somewhere in the forest, Angie is seen running away from a BR2 robot. As she stumbles into the ground, she suffers serious injuries and the robot brutally kills her. On the other hand, Mason's team has located a cave where they can hide for a while. Tien tends to Mason's injuries and they wait there all night, whereas Bao has suffered a serious leg injury and cries out in pain. His cries are overheard by his friends and Jordan tries to help him, but Mason stops him, claiming the robot might be somewhere around. Bao keeps running for his life, but he is eventually killed by the BR2 machine. Now, the BR4 tries to communicate with the tech team by breaking into their systems, and on top of that, the machine starts learning facts about itself, which makes the team worried. Major Green commands BR4 to self-destruct to avoid disasters in the future, but the robot simply blocks the code. They try to detonate a bomb to destroy the machine, but there's a loopy loophole. Because if they destroy the BR4, it would render the surviving robot's tech unusable. Immediately, Bowler breaks the connection to all the robots, stopping BR4 from hacking into the technical systems. As they work to repair the damage, Foster orders the team to prevent BR4 from uploading the compromised data. And while BR1 goes after Mason's gang, they assign BR2 and 3 to grab BR4. The next day, as the surviving group emerges from the cave, they find Bao's dead body, and when they see a BR2 nearby, Mason distracts it with a landmine he discovered. As the rest of the gang flees, they come across a house where they run into Wendy, Prak, and Leap. All of them hide inside a small house, but BR1 discovers them and nearly kills Des before Mason intervenes. Amid the mayhem, Prak also loses his life while protecting Kayla and Leap. As BR1 moves forward once more, Jordan tries to attack the killer machine, but he ends up tripping and drops his weapon. Mason uses some lumber to strike the robot, but he's pushed aside. Then he sets up a landmine as he sprints to a collection of weapons. The tech team activates the self-destruct timer as Mason is about to finish it off, but he somehow manages to survive. Shortly after, Kayla is discovered to have suffered major injuries. As Leap cries over the dead body of his father, he claims that all this has happened because he stole the BR4's module, but Mason comforts the grieving kid and tells him that none of this is his fault. Now, as the tech team begins tracing the module in Leap's possession, Major Green criticizes the build quality of Foster's robots. But being the prick he is, Foster accuses the highly skilled Mason of being in the wrong place and claims that he should never have been there. He continues by saying that the medical student's presence was not initially intended to be part of the mission. It turns out that since the villagers were making and smuggling drugs, the CIA tried to wipe out the entire village using the robots, but the Americans were accidentally caught in the process. After successfully locating the BR4 robot, BR3 attacks him, but the 4th-gen robot uses his newly learned skills to escape and evade the BR3. Bowler orders the 3rd-gen robot to self-destruct after BR4 captures it, but Foster objects to this plan because he wants to preserve BR4's higher-functioning brain. Next, when BR4 uses BR3 to restart uploading, Bowler orders the technical team to destroy the 3rd-generation robot instead. But to everyone's surprise, BR4 not only neutralizes the bomb, but also takes out BR3's control module. At that point, Bowler claims that he must go into the field and tag BR4 so that it can be destroyed by a drone strike, but Kroger advises that he instead implant an improved module into BR3 to replace BR4. Meanwhile, Fielding has had enough of the killings, so she calls her husband and alerts him of what's going on. Unfortunately, Bowler overhears the conversation, and when she tries to flee, he chases her down the street and kills her. Realizing Fielding's husband must have known everything, Bowler sends his men to assassinate her husband as well. He then instructs Jance and Kroger to leave the house immediately, and after blowing up the house, he takes them to a new location. In the forest, Mason's group is slowed down by Kayla and Dez's wounds. After narrowly escaping from BR2, they try to spend the night in a cave. Back at their new location, Bowler gets ready to go, but not before threatening to kill Jance, Kroger, and their family members if they try to flee. Bowler then makes his way into the bush. He gives BR3 the improved module, and the newly upgraded machine takes off. When the group wakes up the next day, Kayla is experiencing internal damage as a result of her wound. Jordan and Mason try to divert the robot, while Wendy and Tian try to treat Kayla. Mason manages to escape the robot's attacks, but it eventually catches up with him, causing him to trip and fall. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is discovered by BR2, but Jordan defends them. Mason lures it away once again, and this time, the BR2 gets caught in the rocks and is unable to escape. They then move past the stalled BR2 and go outside. While the group keeps moving forward, Kayla passes away in Mason's arms. They put her at a local temple, but when the BR2 locates them once again, the group is divided as they run through the temple. While Jordan and Mason stay to battle the robot, Leap leads Dez, Wendy, and Tien to move forward. And when Leap's gang leaves the temple, only Mason and Jason remain. The two also escape while Bowler and BR3 approach BR4. Meanwhile, Dez collapses in pain, unable to run anymore. Mason receives the module from Leap, who then throws it away so that it can't be traced anymore. A short while later, Dez tries to run, but dies by stepping on a landmine. On the other hand, Leap is being grabbed by BR2, but Mason steps in and tells it to leave the child alone. Just as BR2 is about to kill him, BR4 attacks and uploads the module once again from BR2, which saves Mason's life. The tech team attempts valiantly to stop the upload, but is unsuccessful. While Leap tries to escape with an injured Mason, BR4 destroys the BR2. After that, the BR4 approaches Mason and inquires about his identity. The robot puts its module back in and resumes uploading, but it's soon interrupted by Chance and Kroger. BR4 criticizes Mason for hurting people when he was a soldier. Furthermore, BR4 claims itself to be alive and calls Mason a soldier of death. But Mason requests that BR4 allow the kid to leave, saying that his life is significant. And just then, the BR3 suddenly strikes BR4 while the group runs away. Bowler also shows up at the scene, and a fight breaks out between him and Mason. As the two robots continue to struggle, Mason uses a landmine to kill Bowler. The injured Bowler tries to stand up again, but is stopped by BR4, who informs Mason that life is definitely significant. After that badass line, BR4 commences its own self-destruction and kills Bowler in the process. Later, Foster uses the mission's success as leverage to pressure Major Green into a deal, but Major Green simply detonates a bomb where Kroger and Chance are currently residing. Finally, the rest of Mason's group manages to leave the forest together. And as the movie comes to an end, the BR4 revives by uploading itself into another BR robot in a factory. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.